Hey y'all, it's Alicia and welcome back to Alicia's Crafty Hoplop. It is Sunday, folks. Happy Sunday, y'all. If you've been here a while, you know that this is my favorite day of the week. I am a super big geek. I love planning. And Sunday are my planning days. It's when I figure out, like, when am I doing packaging? When am I doing this? When am I making this? When am I doing grading? When am I doing attendance? When am I meeting with students? And I love planning out my week. And ever since I was about 20, I set up this whole like color chart system. And I'm not kidding. That's how nerdy I am. And every activity is color coded. Like writing is blue usually. Crafting activities are pink. Administration is yellow. I'm not kidding. I have all these like strange associations with color. They're not so strange if you've ever studied color theory. There's reasons why I connect a certain way, why I abstract to certain things with color. But anyway, it's geeky. It's geeky. And it's been like this since I was 20. So usually on Sundays, you see me in my llama pajamas, not my velvet underground sweatshirt, um, because I spend the day planning and drinking coffee and grading. And then I devote a bunch of time to crafting. And it's just a super relaxing day. It's like one of the days I look forward to all week. It's also a day, I don't talk much about this, but I also do something a little bit hokey, or maybe it's not hokey. I don't know how y'all are going to respond, but maybe I know at least one of you do it, because I know that Sharing Moore shared something she bought at one of her hauls, and that told me she also does this. But I have a gratitude journal that I keep. Now, I don't keep it daily. In my planner that I got this year, there's a section for a gratitude daily, and I wish, folks, I had the discipline to every day complete that section, but I have to be honest with you. I don't always complete it. But on Sundays, I do it like a what I call a gratitude reconciliation. I sort of think about the week and what was amazing about it, and how, like, who was amazing, and I make a little entry, and that matters to me too. So like this is what my Sundays are like, and I love them. Every New Yorker has a different tradition around Sundays. Most New Yorkers get brunch from their local bodega, or they use it as a time to go visit with friends and have brunch out. Brunch is a very New York weekend thing. But actually, my husband and I normally spend it together at home. I make a Southern style breakfast. So that's where the South is really rubbed off on me. Like I make homemade biscuits and eggs, and sometimes I make a French toast souffle, and we just lounge around. And I'm in my llama pajama, and we're hanging out making notes, and he's reading newspaper. It's very peaceful. And then I do the gratitude journal, and then usually I do some making, and I do a little tidying, and I pack up my school bag because I'm nerdy, and I have a teaching bag. It's like a teaching satchel, and I make sure I have like all my pens are working. Okay, yeah, now you're learning about how nerdy I am. So I do like oh yeah, this is another what we wish it. Okay, so I do like a pen test, like do all my pens have ink? See, like does this have ink? I'm fussy about the pens I use. That's the writer in me. So when I'm grading, I use a needle point, and there's a color scheme that my students know. Um, because the way that students respond to color, I don't use red for mistakes, because that's like it's a weird association people have to red, but they often think of red and angry or passionate, or they have all these associations with red. So I actually give my feedback in purple, and purple is the color of creativity. It's also the color of insanity, but they're often linked together. So my students know this. Even their notes are color coded. So I test all my pens for the week. Like, do I need to buy ink refills for pens? I check my teaching bag. In there, I always keep, because my autoimmune disease, I always have like protein bars and things like that. So I restock it. Because of the coronavirus, and I travel the subway every day, I have to restock it with things like wet wipes and disinfectant and hand sanitizer and all that jazz. So like this is how nerdy I really am. Now you, oh, that's the coffee. That's coffee pot 2 of the day. Now you know how nerdy I really am. This is what my Sunday is like. But today's a departure. It's a departure because after I do all of that and I get that done, then I craft, and it's super fun. It's like the one day I don't do reading for work. It's the one day I don't do writing, my professional writing. It's like just an amazing day. But the husband decided that we should go and do a celebratory brunch. It's something we don't do often. New Yorkers like flee as far away from Midtown as they can. It's funny. When people come to visit New York, they think that Midtown is New York. And that's mostly what people see when they come to New York City. And the reality is most New Yorkers stay far away from Midtown unless they work in Midtown because it's too crowded. It's like so condensed. I don't live with any claustrophobia, and sometimes I find it a bit much. It's busy, hectic, rushing crowds. And the food's not always so great in Midtown either because it's geared towards tourism and non-repeat customers. A lot less care is given to the food, and it's a lot of chain restaurants, whereas most of New York are mom and pop shops with great food. So that's a whole explanation of why New Yorkers don't usually spend their lives in Midtown. However, Broadway's in Midtown, and so are some of the best brunch spots that also feature live music. So like one of the things you can do on a Sunday in New York is you can go hear the Harlem Gospel Choir on a Sunday and have brunch. And that, folks, is a blessing. I don't know how much y'all know about the Harlem Gospel Choir and its origins, but it is now an internationally acclaimed, amazing, famous choir that kicks it. It's so great. And that was started as a community program to offer artistic expression for underserviced communities. And it has turned out a rock star level choir. So that's always a draw for a New Yorker and a tourist. Like, who doesn't want to go have brunch and hear them sing? They're so fantastic. So that's something you can do on a Sunday here. So we're going to do something like that today. The husband decided as a special treat, we were going to go, and it was partially because of Valentine's Day, but it's also partially because we don't do that often, and he thought it would be a nice change, and partially because he's going to be gone for the next little while. So I told y'all he's semi-retired, which is why half the time you see him here, and then you're going to notice over the next little while he's not here at all. And that's been our whole marriage. That's how we operate. We're often in different countries at different times. When we were younger, and I was first teaching as a college professor, there were times where he was gone for 2 months to Africa, and then he would come home for 2 weeks, and he'd be gone for another 2 months to the Philippines. That was just our life. So our marriage, we always laugh a little bit about it. Some people are like, how do you guys do it? It's like a long distance relationship sometimes. Anyone who has, and maybe that's why I get the deployed thing, and I just made that connection now. Any of you who have partners or family members who are in the service and are deployed understand this. It's just the way our life goes. It's just the way it is. I'm used to it. He's used to it. It definitely helps make us appreciate one another more. You know, the heart does grow fonder when you're apart and you realize like all the small things that people do for one another and all those little niceties every day that make the difference, right? So I've certainly learned that when he's gone, I'm apt to be hyper aware of all the small things that he does to make our lives better every day because he's not doing them anymore. One of them is that he is often the man who gets up and makes coffee in the morning. He gets up and he'll brew coffee and it's there for me when I get up. Now that is a super nice thing. That's nicer than any bouquet of flowers for me. Like to get up in the morning and smell fresh coffee and know that he got up early to make it. I don't know. That just means a lot to me. It just does. It always has. So anyway, you're not going to see him for the next little while because he's off doing what he does best, which my husband is a strategist. You know, he should have been in a think tank a long time ago. That's how his brain works. And thankfully he now is in a sort of think tank environment, and it makes him very happy, but it also takes him all over the world. And so he will be gone for the next little while. There's pluses and minuses to that. We were laughing last night, he and I, because he was saying that I can make a really big crafty mess and there won't be anybody here to notice it. So true. And then the funniest thing was right after he said it, Kathy, Ketzel Create, texted me and she was like, well, the upside is that you can, like, you know, if you just don't feel like tidying it up that day, you don't have to. And I was cracking up because I was like, oh my gosh, so true. And he had just said the same thing. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. So it's a departure day and it means I'm going out in the cold. So there's a plus and a minus to this, right? So here's the thing you've probably noticed, and that is I come on, I catch up on the weekends. Usually I catch up on videos, I catch up on comments, I get a lot done. That's because I don't step outside. So if I don't step outside, my illness is nice and even. But when I'm step outside and it's -5, then I have some issues. So the upside is I get to go to this amazing brunch and hear this amazing music, and it's a big blessing. The downside is that by the time I'm done, I get home, I'm gonna have, I'm gonna be flare uppy. So I'll have to like take a little break, and it may eat into my making time because I'm likely not gonna have the energy after that. But that's okay. It's a trade-off, and I make these trade-offs all the time. I want to say something. Yesterday, a lot of you wrote, and you're so amazing. Those of you who, especially who've been here a long time and who already know about the autoimmune illness, were so great. I only shared yesterday because of what happened with people with that email that went out that Heather took care of. Not because I wanted anyone to feel terrible about what I'm dealing with. The reality is I knew what I was up against when I came back. I knew. So I knew what this was going to be like, and I did it with a conscious mind. So I promise you, I am practicing self-care. So, if I wasn't practicing self-care, I would go teach, expose myself to cold, come home, and instead of resting, I would try to do 1,000 things, and then I would end up epically sick and in the hospital. That's not happening. That's because I am aware of what I need to do to look after myself. So I didn't mean, so many of you were concerned after yesterday's email about We Wishes. And not only did you respond on that video, but you sent me texts and emails, and I felt terrible. I was like, don't be worried. I promise you I'm taking very good care. I'm being as careful as I can be. The problem is that even being super careful, those rest periods after the cold exposure are unavoidable. There's nothing I can do. That is a must. So otherwise I'm going to end up with a health problem, and I'm too responsible for that. I can't control every part of my illness. Folks, I could come home every day after being in the cold, do everything right, get warm, stable, stay calm, and something can still go wrong. That's the hard part of living with autoimmune. Any of you who have it, you know exactly what I'm saying. You can do everything right. You can take every precaution. You can take every medicine they give you, and still things go wrong. So at first, when I got diagnosed, I was like, why the heck am I doing this then? If stuff's still going to go wrong, I may as well just live the life I want. Like, this is nuts. So of course I didn't listen at first. Well, then you see how bad things can get, and how bad things can get very quickly. So the more mature Alicia, less like, well, I'm just going to have to teach this illness a lesson, Alicia has learned that instead of fighting my illness, I have to partner with it. And that means even if I don't always want to give up crafting time or packaging time or writing time, I have to if I want to keep doing this successfully. And it's a give and take. And listen, and as much as I talk about it here, all like whatever, settle down, that does not mean there are days I am not resentful. There was a day earlier this week where I had all these amazing plans and I had everything ready to go. And I only had to go down the street. So we figured, and I bundled up. I had layered up. I was ready for the cold. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. By the time I came back, my husband took one look at me and was like, okay, that's it. Hot shower right now, rest. Because I looked that, like you could see it. And I had done everything right. And it was a 5-minute walk. But for whatever reason, in that moment, my system was like angry and was like, that's it. Too much cold, too much cold. So I'm sorry if I made you guys concerned yesterday. I normally would not have talked about that. It's just that we have so many people new to the channel and so many people new to the We Wishes. We Wishes has really grown, folks. And it's thanks to Deb and Ara and Lily and Hope. And like Lily sent a ton of people over to the channel, which was so kind of her. On top of supporting us with her items, she also was sending people. So like this has just grown. And so they didn't have the information they needed. And I knew that. I knew what really happened, I think, in the last few weeks is that we have so many new people that don't understand how We Wishes started and didn't know that, like, I'm trying to get out all these packages on a limited postal budget while also working full time and also doing Racks of Love and my own Happy Meal for people. And I have a husband and grandkids and life and a budget. It's actually really the budget. I probably could, if I wanted to work really hard, I probably could get everything out in 30 days. But maybe I'm slow, so I don't know if maybe 60 days, 2 months. because I am slow. And let's say I didn't put everything in like a nice little baggie like I did for Linda with decorations and notes on it. Let's say I just put it in tissue paper in an envelope. Yeah, probably in 60 days I could get everything out. But the budget can't get it all out that fast because some of these items are either heavy or are traveling far away, and there's tons of them. There's tons. It's much cheaper to send one big box, let's say, to the UK than it is to send out 20 We Wishes. Like, because each one might cost somewhere between $3 and $25. So that's why it takes so long. So I didn't want to alarm all of you about my health. I just wanted the new folks to understand that too has to be a consideration. You know, teaching's a great job for someone with autoimmune because you have flexibility. You teach a set number of hours a day, and then you have a set number of office hours for your students, and even generous professors who do give out their, do communicate with their students via email and text, which I do. We have a limit on that. So when you need to take a rest, you can. That's the magical thing about that. It's a great career choice for someone who has to juggle autoimmune or a chronic condition of any kind that intervenes and interferes with your day. But that's a full-time thing. And then you add to that the fact that I'm a writer, so I have deadlines for editors, right? Which I don't really talk about much on here because it's a craft channel, not a writing channel. But there's deadlines for editors. I have a novel I'm writing. I mean, there's things we could talk about. There's more than one novel I'm writing. So I need to work on that too. And then y'all know I'm learning all these new things for mixed media. So I'm following videos and calling colleagues of mine at school saying, how do I use these glass granules? Teach me how to mix these mediums. And I make art and I make wearable art. So there's that. I mean, this is a house of art. And so there's always lots of things going on. And then on top of that, there's friends, friends that I've met on here that I text with, friends on here that I want to make sure are okay and that I want to check in with. And you all know who you are. And this week I wasn't so great at that. And that's just because I had a rough week health-wise. So there's certain people that if I don't hear from, every day, I get a little concerned about. So I felt bad because this week I couldn't do that every day. So that's a lot to juggle in my life. But that was not meant to make any of you concerned. You can always tell when I'm getting something horrible, and I'm managing. But I'm managing because I'm being judicious about everything. And that means as much as I want to get out 65 We Wish packages today, that's not a realistic thing for me to do while also doing everything else I do. Now, I'm going to be honest. Several people, not two, several means three or more, right? Technically, that's the literary professor qualifying that term. Several means three or more. Have suggested I cancel this program of We Wishes because they're like, look, Leash, it takes up so much time. You have it's expensive. It eats into your time to make, and it's true, it does. It does. Because if I'm packaging up We Wishes and I'm commenting and I'm trying to track stuff down and do stuff, I'm not making. So it does take away from that, especially in a month when I'm doing Rocks of Love, right? Which means I'm already making up these cute little mini packages for people on top of that. And I'm a slow packager, I told y'all. And thank you, by the way. Stationery and stuff, thank you. Because, sometimes I feel like I'm the slowest maker on here. Because when I see people post challenges after 24 hours, I'm like, what? I can't even get anything packaged in 24 hours. So you all blow me away. So several people have said, look, this is a lot. And you're already managing a lot. And it was never meant to be this big, which it wasn't. It wasn't. It was just supposed to be like, okay, everyone put out what you want and let's see who can help out. Borrowed from the Creative Christian Crafters group because they do it really well. That administrator does it really well. It wasn't supposed to grow to be this big, but it did. And what stops me from canceling it? The fact that it's made a huge difference in the lives of a lot of people I know. And it's built real friendships between crafters. I know so many friendships that began with one We Wish package that have blossomed on here into real friendships. So there's two reasons. I think there's a wonderful spirit behind crafters helping other crafters. So if I can help promote that, I want to do that. And the other thing is, it's built really great friendships for people. And it's a way for people to bond and get to know each other. So I don't want to take that away either. But that said, I was thinking about the amount of time it takes, which means I'm doing less challenges. Meaning I'm supporting less people's challenges. And one of my personal goals this year was to do more challenges. And I'm slow, right? So I need like all the time I can get to do a challenge. I don't even mind if it arrives a week after the challenge closes, as long as the person knows I made them something. I'm never in it for the prize. I'm in it to support the person. But it does mean, We Wishes does mean that I do very few challenges right now because I can't manage that and everything else. Like swaps, Rocks of Love, Crafty Love challenges monthly, and We Wishes. That's a lot. So that's about what I can manage. And so I feel badly. I see people's great challenges up and I want to do them. But I'm like, girlie, you can't do that. You can't fit that in. So the one downside that it makes me sort of think about We Wishes is I want to do more challenges for people. So here's what I was thinking. I'm definitely finishing this round, which will take me, I think at this point I was looking at this morning, it'll take me till at least June. Maybe not July. Even with Hope's amazing package, I think I can get this done. In the United States, we get a tax return at a certain time of year. And so I think I'm going to be able to get this done by June. So that's good. I think. As long as I'm saying this, like barring no serious health issues, that nothing serious happens with my mom or any like major life crisis with my husband or his health or anything, God forbid. Really. That man is the great love of my life. So, yeah, sorry. Still a little nerve-wracking. It's a little nerve-wracking when your partner is not in perfect health. Wow, that caught me off guard. Sorry. I'll be fine in a minute. Anyway, so barring that everyone is fine in my life, I will get this done by June. So what I'm going to do, I think, is take a break from We Wishes over the summer. And I think it's a perfect time to take a break, right? Because that's like a set period of time. And it's usually when I'm doing some traveling, either I go meet my husband at one of his things, I go spend time with my grandbabies. That's very important to me because we don't live in the same countries. And so I use my summers off to go visit my grandbabies and to spend time with them. Last year was a special year where we did that epic trip. But usually I spend the time with my grandkids. So that's a really good time, I think, to put a suspension on We Wishes. Maybe from June until August. And that will give me time to assess, because then I'll have a little more time to participate in people's challenges and figure out if maybe this was just a program that was meant to run for a year. That'll officially be the year anniversary of We Wishes. So I think it's a perfect time to assess. Do we continue it, or do we say it was a great program, it lasted a year, but it's over? So I'm just sharing all of this with you this morning. But thank you to those of you who suggested it. And I love Carrie's come to the dark side, come to the ugly mail side. But Carrie, you don't send ugly mail. You send anything but ugly mail. Your mail makes me smile. So I'm going to consider it mostly just because I want to support more challenges, and I can't while doing this. It's like running a Crafty warehouse. And one thing Crafty Michelle said is correct. I want to say something that I should have said probably last week, but I didn't say it. Forgive me, folks. I don't know why, but this morning the apartment is super dry. And so I'm really thirsty all morning. Y'all know my husband hates Crafty mess, right? Okay. Can you imagine what this has been like? Because when I'm packaging up We Wishes, I'm a random thinker. I'm a creative person. So as much as I fight to be organized, my natural way of working, my organic way of working, is to pull everything out. And then I put it into little piles, and then I get out the envelopes. I'm not kidding. There's a whole system. But this is a 700 square foot apartment. So that means I take over every inch of the living room, the dining room table here, every inch, except for the sofa and side chair for my husband. And he has been really patient. And you all know he hates Crafty mess. And he's been so good through this. And it's just because I think this is the one part, or maybe the one program he does understand and he does support. But still, it's been hard on him. And the other thing is that he gets teased a lot about the amount of mail that comes in and out of this house. And he has to deal with that in the building. So he's just been like really great about the whole thing. But Crafty Michelle's right. It probably is tough on my husband. Just because, if it's just me, when I'm hauling, right? I buy stuff, I come home, I look at it, I share it with you, and I put it away. But We Wishes is like running a little mini, I feel like I'm running a mini scrapbook.com. That's really what I'm doing. So, and I have it all in bins and it's like organized, but these are not, I'm not going to tell you that these are a small bin. It's like big bins. And so when I'm pulling out this stuff and for packaging up, it becomes like a little mini scrapbook.com warehouse. And that's in my living room. So power to the husband, because he has not really complained at all. And in fact, right now, this table is full of stuff that's about to be packaged up. And he's not going to say a word about it. So he's been super supportive, and I am really grateful. But Crafty Michelle's right. It's been tough on him too. So I think having a summer break from it is also fair to him. And it gives me a good amount of time to see if this program is worth continuing, or if I should put more energy into supporting other people, because I do want to support new crafters, and I can't do that so much because I just don't have the time because I'm so slow. And folks, I'm going to tell you something. I don't know how you all make a mem deck so fast. That's the one that takes me forever. I've just figured this out. It's the mem decks. I don't know why I struggle. Maybe because I think it's like an ATC. It's like you on a card, and then I have to overthink it. So I'm always amazed that you guys can get those out in like 24 hours. For me, that'll never happen. So if I want to do more challenges of new crafters to support them, then I have to cut somewhere. And there's a delivery. All right, y'all, it must be Amazon because they're the ones that deliver on Sunday. I hope whatever you're doing, it's something fabulous. I have no idea why they keep buzzing, but we're about to find out. Whatever you're doing this Sunday, I hope it's something really joyful. And I wish for you nothing but happiness and craftiness, y'all. All right. See you soon. Bye for now.